church.
Yes.
And he doth act as a surgeon here in this place, and he is not, well, he's not gilded for that, you understand. He acts in that capacity.
What is his character like?
I think he is a good man. I would say he's very kind and loving, sometimes to a fault, I would say. Did anyone tell you about what happened with regard to Master Lyford and Master Lyford's attempt to overthrow the government and such 3 years ago?
Yes, how he stood up for him.
Yeah, I mean, he did honoured his tears and thought it was very moving. Unfortunately, some are more kind than is warranted by those that it is of. And so, of course, all of this was unwarranted, for Master Lyford did nothing but crocodile tears and such things.
So I understand you brought medicine for him?
Yeah, when I did help to treat to the Master Sawat when he was dreadfully ill. Master Fuller did give me a conserve what to give him, and by God's grace, good English medicine in my care, I did help recover the life of the Master Sawat. I mean, he was very ill when I got to him. I mean, he was all but blind. I mean, his first words to me was, Keen Windslow, which is that you, Windslow? He can't, the Indians never can say the L's right. They always sound like N's, you know. But, yeah.
Wow. Did you know his servant, William?
Button?
Yes.
No, not really. I mean, he was, I think, the first person that died before we got to Cape Cod. He's a boy, like 14, 15, something of that nature, I figure.
What about his wife? Did you meet her when she came?
Yeah, I mean, I knew her before, as did I know Master Fuller himself. I mean, I'd been in Leiden, although not as long as some of my neighbours who had been there. I was only there for about 3 years myself.
How long was Dr. Fuller in Leiden?
Oh, Master Fuller? I mean, he's not a doctor or anything. But, yeah, but Master Fuller, he'd been there, I think, about a dozen years or so.
Okay.
Most of my neighbours who were there had been there about a dozen years or so.
Why did you go there?
Well, I had gone there, I mean, I had connections and such, some with Master Brewster and such things. I had gone there and I was working for Master Brewster as a printer there.
Okay.
I had been apprenticed in that capacity back in England, you understand, and certainly already had many leanings and had heard fair bits about Master Robinson and such things, connections through my schoolmaster and such things when I was a boy.
Wow. Did you know Edward Fuller?
Not very well or anything. I mean, I knew of him certainly, but I did not know him well.
Yeah, sadly he died
As
the first
so
winter.
Many, mistress, so many. I mean, my wife Elizabeth, the young girl that we had as a ward, Ellen Moore, and one of my servants, all, and many others. I mean, whole families were utterly destroyed.
What was that first winter like?
Well, you understand, by the time we'd actually arrived here, it was already mid to late December. And there weren't no shelter or nothing. I mean, we'd been on the ship by that point about 5 months. And we were anchored about a mile and a half from shore. And had to build houses. I mean, anyone who was well enough, whenever the weather was as well enough to allow it, go ashore and try and build houses. I mean, men, women, children, everyone who could do anything employed in that capacity. And, I mean, so many were so ill already by the time we got there. And so many did die. It's just, I mean, living on a ship a mile and a half from shore, trying to build houses in the midst of winter. I mean, it certainly did not feel this way at the time, mistress, you understand, but on reflection, it occurred to me that it is a great mercy of God that as many of us survived as did.
Yeah. Yeah, there must have been a lot of illness because of staying out at sea so long.
Yeah, and then living on a ship in winter, trying to build houses. I mean, been on that 5 months before we even got here, if you had it all together correctly.
Did you know it would take so long to get here?
I had some idea, but I mean, a lot of it was delays, you understand. For you might have heard of that number of 66 days and such. That number's not false, it's just only measuring part of it. Because that's measuring from we left the third time till we got to Cape Cod. And so we spent 6 weeks leaving and going back, and then 5 weeks at Cape Cod before we finally came here.
Because of the speedwell? Because
that was
it
a lot of
leaking?
it, yeah, that was the origin of it. For its leaking caused us to turn back. I mean, the second time we turned around, we was 300 miles outside the English Channel. And then that meant we arrived off Cape Cod in mid-November. And do you know anything about the coast of Cape Cod on the south side?
A little bit.
Very dangerous area. What's called Tucker's Terror on English maps. And we tried for about 2 days to get through there to try and get down to the Hudson where we were intending to go in the northern parts of Virginia. Could not do so safely. So we turned back and anchored out at Cape Cod again, where we spent 5 weeks trying to figure out where else to go because, well, we weren't where we were supposed to be, you understand?
Yeah, you seem like a very educated gentleman.
I would say I'm one of the more learned men here in the town. I come from a good family. My father, he sent me to the King's School in Worcester as a boy, and I worked as a printer. That is my trade, you understand? So I'm one of the more learned men in the town. I actually wrote a book about many of the things that happened here. What's been published in England when I went back, one of the times I had to go back, called Good News from New England.
Oh, wow. That's great. We were talking to Master Bradford, and he really likes you.
I should hope so. I count him as a very good friend to myself as well, mistress.
He does, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
It's
My
been
pleasure, mistress.
a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, of course, master. God grant you both good day and safe travels home again.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.